Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for the Q&A for Road to Vrindavan. I hope you guys loved the film as much as we did. This is such an important topic and such just a cultural topic, a current topic, I'm so excited to be talking to all of you. So thank you all for being here. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to rate the movies whenever you're done watching them. It's going to help us determine an audience award at the end of the week. So remember to do that. And then I also wanted to thank our major sponsors as well as the sponsors for this film, the Broad Street Giant Grinder, and our major sponsors, BHE Renewables, American General Media, and KSBY TV. So thank you to all of our sponsors. So right now I want to turn it over to the director and one of the subjects of the film and just kind of have you talk about a little bit of why you wanted to make this film. I know you talked about it in the film quite a bit, but maybe introduce everyone that's here, how everyone was involved in the film, and just kind of get us started.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much. So my name is Ravanal. I'm the director of the film. I'm also in the film. And we have also here Priyanka, who helped us in one of the rural locations that we went to and helped us to work with the community there a lot. And she was wonderful. She's also in the film. And also Zia, who also lives in the same town as me in England. But I reached out to him because we'll talk about it in a bit. Partway through the film, it took a turn, in terms of where we were focusing. And I thought that Zia was a wonderful example of the new area that I wanted to explore. So Zia, he'll explain himself, but he's Malala's father. And he's such a great example of how men can pave the way for girls to really flourish. So I reached out to him, and then he also is in the film as well. So little bit of context. I mean, it all started, to be honest, I got a phone call. Somebody invited me on this 1,800-kilometer tuk-tuk trip down the west coast of India, and I thought, what an adventure. I'd love to do that. Yeah. But it was about also quite a serious cause, about understanding the challenges that so many girls in India face accessing education. And I thought, this is really curious. I want to learn about it. I've run a film company, so I'll take my film crew with me. And then we came back and we were very excited to highlight the issue. And we had a lot of encouraging words, but it's always the way, isn't it? The one criticism you get is the one that sticks out in your head. So somebody criticized me and said, why are you doing this as a man? And if I'm very honest, it really, it knocked the wind out of me for a short time. And then I thought, you know what, surely this kind of divisive thinking is what causes, these power disparities in the first place, and thinking, oh, you're in that camp, I'm in this camp, I'm above you, I'm below you, this kind of thing. So I went back and then we spent a lot more time this time really going and spending time with girls and hearing their stories and also talking to their families, their brothers, their fathers. And so they kind of took that twist of like, what's the role of men and how can we involve them in the conversation as well, essentially.
And on that topic, I think, obviously, anyone that can be an activist and is in the position of power necessary, or, it just makes it that much more, more people will listen. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing for women in this case to be advocating for themselves and advocating for their rights and everything, but it's another thing for someone who already has that power and to also be like encouraging it. So I thought that was awesome. And I appreciate you for having done that. And I'm sure, a lot of people did, but Zia, I'm curious, like as a father and in that culture, like how, what did it look like for you and how has that kind of shifted or do you want to just kind of talk about your experience being a father in the culture?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm very thankful for having me here. And Priyanka and Rev are in the film. And there is a small comment from me as well. But believe me, if I had not been in the film, I would still have been on this conversation because the theme of the film is so close to my heart.
Yeah.
I can associate myself with it. And I can see my story, my sister's story in this film. I can see the story of the girls of my town back in Pakistan. So I grew up in a small village in the northwest of Pakistan and grew up with 5 sisters and a brother. and I could see how my sisters were treated differently than us. Right. And I loved one clip of the film I just referred to, that when Rev asked the girls that why, like, the boys are preferred, why are they special? And the girl says that, oh, they give milk to the boys. And the boy didn't feel that, oh, I'm more important because we are given like milk and the girls are not. So the same happened in our family. I got milk cream with my breakfast tea, and my sisters did not. So this is just one example. So for me, my life story is a transformation from patriarchal family to a family that believes in equality. And together with my wife and with my daughter, we were able to build a family, to create an institution of our family where equality, fairness, love, respect is a social norm for the family. So, for example, when I was growing up, if I could see the social norms which I have in my family, in that village, I would have shocked. But my sons, it's very normal for them. And right. I'm so glad that my family, this transformation from a patriarchal family to an egalitarian family, this is what I could do in my life. And I'm so proud of it.
Yeah, good. That's amazing. Oh. Yeah. I'm curious what the response has been. Have you shown this film in India and to Indian cultures? And what has the response been from people watching it, both from the male and female perspective? Has it encouraged things? Has it moved anything forward? Like, what's the response been?
Sure. I'll say a few words and then I'll ask Priyanka to say a few words about what she thinks it might be, because we haven't actually shown it in India yet.
Okay.
But we have shown it once or twice in the UK. So the San Luis Obispo Film Festival is one of the first times we're actually screening it. And certainly it's an American premiere, which we're really proud to be part of. But we've shown it a couple of times in the UK, and we've had Indian audiences in the UK watch it. And I was very, very proud. One lady said, she was an Indian actress, she said, I really appreciate how sensitively you dealt with the cultural issues, because if it was me and I'm Indian, I'd be so angry and I would have got in there and this and that. And but obviously being not from India, I was extra sensitive to be respectful at the same time inquire. But Priyanka, you're living in India. What are you thinking? Obviously, we don't know yet what they'll say, but what do you think? How do you think people will respond to it?
Yeah. I think people will obviously respond positively to it. But what I like about the film is the angle where we're talking about sensitizing men, where we're talking about engaging men in this issue. And it's so important, what I think is that how is the system of oppression, how patriarchy works, and what is empathy, and all these big things, they're always taught to girls. They're always taught to women. But I feel like that's not fair. If men are in those higher positions, if men are positioned to be the oppressors, so the empathy and all these learnings should also come from their side. The effort should also come from their side. And I think somewhere people in India, if I talk about men around me, if they see, they'll feel it. I'm also very excited to see how people react to it, what they feel, what they take home with them. But I think people will be able to feel this.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's one of the things we're hopeful for with the film, is that people don't externalize the ideas, they internalize them. So especially as men, so that instead of thinking, oh, isn't that a really terrible issue somewhere else far away? Or hopefully they reflect and think, oh, well, how does this relate to me? Okay, it might be slightly different cultural context, but how does it relate to me and my relationships and my family and my community? So hopefully people will make that bridge wherever they live.
Totally. And on that topic, what do you want people, I mean, you kind of already answered it, but like what do you want people to come out of this movie in San Luis Obispo, you know, thinking, and what are some action steps that, you know, we can take here in California, both to just have progress for women everywhere and in India?
I'll say a few words, and then if anybody else wants to say, I think the main thing I would like is that it inspires honest and deep and meaningful conversations. You know, whether that's within oneself, with one's own family, with one's community, maybe in one's workplace. Just that it, for men in particular, that it allows you to walk for a short time in the shoes of the girls, and to, like Priyanka said, develop that kind of empathy. And me and my wife sometimes, like, so in the film, actually, you see that at the end, my wife talks and says the irony is that we even have gender stereotypes in our own marriage. And so that's the thing. Even for me, it's been such a journey, you know, and I'm someone who's trying. And it's still been hard as well. You know, it's hard sometimes for men, I think. And I think that we've often had this conversation that, is it about, I think it needs to go beyond equality in terms of theoretically, or, you know, just because we want to be politically correct. And I think the main thing is when you have true respect both ways, then you naturally have the balance. But the true respect can often be hard to find if you don't really understand, or if you don't want to try and understand. Right. So I would just love that people, I'm trying to not give any answers in the film. I'm trying to ask lots of questions, really. I don't know if Zia or Priyanka, did you want to say anything about what you would love for people to think when they watch it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what I would love people to do is, yeah, they start thinking about it, you know. Like, I imagine a family who have just watched the film, a father, mother, and their daughter maybe, and they're walking back home, and the father is engrossed in thinking something, and he holds hand of his daughter while crossing the road and casually asks her, so what do you want to study, huh? And the daughter really grabs that moment and just says whatever she wanted to do, and that's the success of the film. And that's what I want to happen in people all over the world. Let that be Pakistan, let that be India, let that be California. I'm sure such cases, such oppression is there in everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zia? Thank you, Priyanka.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak on this is very holistic, like the film that you have worked on. I impressed, working on this theme with multi angles, like from every angle in such a short span of time, I should say. The theme is girls' education, women empowerment, their freedom, their emancipation. And this all you want to do with an empathy in people's hearts, like what I believed in, that it's not about us and them. It's about all of us. As you have mentioned, that it's not women versus men. It is past versus future. What our the girls' past is, and what it should be, and what it could be. So in that scenario, there are amazing stories of the Anuradha and Reshmi. And then we have social activists like Priyanka and Bapu and Didi. And then you see, then we have organizations who play that role, that they change girls' lives and they challenge the social norms and then we see that change. So I think that this film will definitely inspire parents. It will give hope to the organizations who are working for girls' education and women empowerment. And definitely it will also, as you mentioned, that it will also call people, it will invite people, and it will inspire people to this honest conversation that enough is enough. And what has been done to girls in the past, it should be, if that could not be undone, we should unlearn the things that have been learned through centuries, like depriving them from their basic rights and from their contribution to the community, to their family, and to be themselves. So, I mean, this is amazing. I'm really happy, and I wish that it's watched by everyone, whether he is a father or brother or a social activist or the girls themselves, because there are amazing girls who, in spite of the difficulties and barriers in their lives, they go through those barriers and they come up successful. So these are success stories, and there are still difficulties, and we have together, like create a conducive, friendly environment for girls all over the world, where girls can learn, where they can grow, where they can choose, where they can lead. Such an important thing. And this is not just about India. Of course, that's a population of one of the biggest population in the world. But I have been to like Afghanistan, I have been to Nigeria, I have been to Kenya, I have been to Brazil, and I have seen like similar, like common things, common barriers which girls are facing, as you have highlighted in this film. And the beauty of the film is it doesn't look like a propaganda for something. It's the stories, and the stories, I mean, ultimately, when you watch the film, you say, oh, something must be done. This is unfair. So this is my feeling when I watched it. I leave it to other people. And I should not tell the story of the film. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Zia.
Thank you.
You know, one thing, Grace, if I may, it's interesting. In California, like maybe more than other places, there are a lot of investors, what we now call, there's a growing thing of social investors, people who have money and they've got enough money and they want to invest money into impact. You know, they want to see change in the world, positive change. So one thing, if anyone is watching, is that I would love to see is there could be more money, but there's already quite a lot of money going to support girls. And in order to support that change for girls, I would love to see more programs and funding going to work with boys so that they can change their mindset, which in a knock-on effect will create a much better situation for girls to flourish. Because it is a sort of, like if we have one without the other, then it does seem to be a bit of a dance. And I actually read, I loved you changed my synopsis ever so slightly on your website for the film, which I thought was brilliant. And you put, let me see if I can quickly find it. It was brilliant. It said, will education bring them true equality or simply transform them into caged butterflies? How do we create lasting equality? And that's brilliant, because that was the story in the film where they were making so much progress, but then because the environment around them was not conducive, then sometimes they may even feel worse. Right?
Totally.
If I just add to this, contribute to this, I think you were very lucky that you are criticized for being men doing it, because it just shifted your focus towards men and boys. And this component of the film is so much important, because we have a famous saying in Pashto that there's a story, but I should tell it. I mean, kind of story that a wife was collecting money. The man was earning money, and he gathered like $19 or pounds. And then, so 20 is a number, which is whole number, right? And then he said, oh, I have earned 19. And the wife just brought one, and she said, oh, now it's 20. Like, you can't make it 20 without me. So that was a different story. But I mean that it can't happen without the contribution and without the active role of men and boys. So we need more Shivraj in our communities. The boy that you have filmed in your story, and those boys and men, we should be like, we should have more like such leaders in men who come forward and play an active role in this women's kind of their empowerment in girls' education. And as the film itself tells that patriarchy is unhealthy, and to make our communities healthier and wealthier and safer, we need to educate our girls and to empower them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any more questions, Grace?
I do, but we're actually out of time, which
I know.
I'm so bummed out. Do you have any?
I think I took much of your time. My problem is speak for long.
Amazing.
Sorry.
No, all of you were so awesome. Do you have any just last minute wrap up thoughts?
I feel like I'd like to hear something more from Priyanka. Would you like to say anything else, Priyanka? In closing?
Yeah. About the thing that you said, since we're talking about California and America and all these big countries, like you're from London, so obviously these countries are wealthier. Even I personally, as I've worked with a lot of NGOs here, I would like to see more investors. I would like to see not just investors, but I would investors who actually know what the problem is. Not investors who think they're saviors. The investors who think they are equally responsible. It's their responsibility to solve the problem, since we have accumulated wealth. The wealth which we have, the food that we have on our plate is not fully ours. We do not have right on all the things. It's someone else share to. It's our responsibility to share, and I want investors who think like this. I want to see more people who come forward. Like I am doing volunteering with an organization right now called VSO. So I see many volunteers from Italy, from UK, and all these developed countries are very, very sensitive, and they are very, very dedicated. And I feel happy that they understand what they're doing and why they're doing that. They have educated themselves. They have understood the problem. They have understood how all of us are part of the problem. I would like to see more such people coming forward, not for all the corners of the world, for all the margins of the world, so that there's no margin left and everybody is at the center.
Yeah.
Thanks, Priyanka. You're breaking up a tiny bit, so I'm glad we managed to catch the end of it. I agree. I think just Grace, just to finish, it's important that, and it was really important to me going over as well to overseas, that we go in with, we may have our ideas, but we must listen to people on the ground to really try and understand properly. So Priyanka was one of the people who helped us to do that when we were there. And so it was great.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time.
I was so glad to be part of this.
Yes, thank you guys so much for taking the time to just do this Q&A and kind of talk a little bit more in depth about, making it and just kind of the after effects of it all. So I really, really appreciate it. Excuse me. And it was so nice to just meet you guys. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.